this is Micah, and welcome to Living Life Strong, where I give you powerful how-to tips on how you can intentionally happen to your life instead of your life happening to you. So we've been talking this week about discipleship, how to be a true disciple, or what a true disciple is. And so today, I want to talk with you about what it takes to be a disciple beyond just being a Christian. So they are two different things. See, there's a difference between being a Christian or being Christians and just praying the prayer, getting fire insurance, and being an actual disciple. And I want to challenge you to ask yourself a very serious question. And we want to do that by looking at a passage where Jesus was brutally honest with his crowd, those that were following him. And he gives them a very clear picture of what it would be like to be his disciple. In Luke 14:25, it says that these large crowds were traveling with Jesus. And so if you could imagine, Jesus' popularity has soared, and people are hearing how a great teacher he was and all the miracles that he's doing. He's feeding thousands of people with a boy's lunch. He's even controlling the weather. And so there are all these people, and they're coming around, and they're coming just to see the show. And so he tells them exactly what it would take to be one of his true disciples, and not just an observer, not just a follower, but a disciple. He tells them exactly what it means. And so in verse 26, he says, if anyone, which includes you, includes me, if any one of us, if we don't hate our mother and father, brothers and sisters, wait a minute, Jesus, I thought you were all about love. I mean, is he saying we should literally hate these people? No, he is using very strong language to pit two different ideas against each other. And he's saying you have to love me on such a high level, a category all by itself, that it is as if you hate them. If you were to compare your loyalty to me versus your loyalty to everybody else, your family and your friends and all your relationships, you have to hate them. And then he goes to qualification number 2 in verse 27. And he says, whoever does not carry their cross cannot be my disciple. And so if you were a first century Roman, Jew, Gentile, you would know what this means. He's not just saying that, your life might be uncomfortable or inconvenient. These people would have understood what he was talking about, that the cross was an execution. And so what he is saying is that if you're going to follow me, you're going to have to follow in my footsteps. And there were certain things that you had to die to yourself. Now, there were certain things that he would not ask you to do. He was never sick, so he wouldn't ask you to be sick. He always had everything that he needed. Whether he needed a donkey, it was there, or if he needed a place to have the Lord's Supper, it was just always provided. He was never without the things he needed. In fact, in Luke 8, it actually says that there were rich women that followed him around and provided for his ministry, and all of his disciples, they paid for everything. So Jesus always had what he needed. So he'll never ask us to take a vow of sickness or a vow of poverty for the gospel, because he didn't. However, he did have a lot of relationships with people. And it's because he loved them at such a level that he put his heart out for them that he could get hurt. And so anytime that you're going to help people like Jesus did, and listen, it happened to Jesus, it's going to happen to us, it's going to hurt. But he never shrank back from those situations. He took up his cross and died to his own self, even though he knew his disciples would abandon him. I mean, one would actually betray him to the enemy. And so he's telling you and he's telling me that we have to carry our own cross, that we have to die to ourselves. He's not just calling us to an easy life. It was hard for him, it was hard for his disciples, and it's going to be hard in places for you and for I. And the question is, are we willing to die for him? Maybe physically, yeah, but then also in our lives. Are we willing to lay down our lives emotionally, relationally, to be his disciple? And then in verse 28, he closes. Supposing one of you wants to build a tower, wouldn't you sit down and estimate the cost to see if you could complete it? And listen, we have a lot of people that are making commitments to Christ without understanding what it's actually going to cost them. Yeah, it's free, but yet it will cost you your whole life. Jesus demands your entire life. So I want to encourage you. He paid for your whole life with his death on the cross. Give him what he paid for, your whole life. Be a disciple. Have a great day. Live life strong, and we'll see you on Monday.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow Living Word on social media. We post content each and every week, and you don't want to miss out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our Instagram, and make sure to turn on notifications for all three, so you'll receive the latest news, updates, and content right at your fingertips.